Welcome back, travelers, to the exciting year of 2026. Today I'd like to continue the ongoing Stargate Theory video series, so without any further ado, let's get started.
What is it? We're not sure, but we're about to find out.
We're headed straight for it.
Stargate Universe is without question the most divisive Stargate series as of today. I love both Stargate SG-1, Atlantis, and Universe for different reasons, but to be fair, I've never made it a secret that Universe was my favorite. It's been 15 years since the show was cancelled, and like so many of you, I could never let it go. In this video, I'd like to cover my theory and what happened to the Destiny crew after Gauntlet. So, did they get rescued? Yes. When were they rescued? I'd say they spent 10 to 15 years in stasis until rescue arrived. Why so late? How were they rescued? Well, breaching the Destiny is one thing. Dialing the 9th chevron requires a huge amount of energy, for example using an Aquadria-rich planet as we've seen before. The tough part is dialing home. Again, needs a massive amount of energy and also the proper technology to stabilize the process, so the ship doesn't blow up. As far as I understand, at the time of the episode Gauntlet, Earth did not have such technology. So as I imagine, Tauri forces begin dialing the Destiny. The ship drops out of FTL. The gate is opened and is only active for a short period of time, just long enough for a single person in a spacesuit to arrive with a large pallet of resources. Destiny is drifting in space. Her power reserves almost ran completely dry. Jonas Quinn carefully works his way through the ship, slowly restoring essential systems. He always wanted to explore the galaxy. Well, whichever galaxy, now is the chance to do so. A couple of days later, Destiny finally gets to refuel in a star. Jonas wakes up Dr. Rush. Seeing Eli hugging Chloe in her stasis pod makes Rush smile. The power source and the stabilizer Quinn brought on board was provided by the Nox. They installed it successfully. It's only enough for a one-time trip, but that's all they need. The crew is awakened and they gather in the gate room. They manage to dial Earth without blowing up the ship, and they return home safe. So that's it. Well, of course not. This video is about the fate of the crew. For this, you have to understand that Stargate Universe, although it has a rich lore and keeps asking very important questions, but the show is as much about its characters as of its mythology. So let's put ourselves in their shoes for a bit. All those years the crew spent in stasis, it slowed their aging considerably. In the meantime, things have definitely changed in the Milky Way galaxy, Earth included. So the question is, who among the crew would stay on a completely different Earth and who would rather decide to return to the Destiny?
We have to go back!
Let's take a closer look at their motivations. Dr. Nicholas Rush. There's no way on Earth that he would leave the Destiny for Earth. Not even for a simple visit, not even if he knew he could come back. David Telford. Now my gut tells me he would jump at an opportunity to return to Destiny, but here's what Lou Diamond Phillips says on the matter.
Stargate Seed and Kathy's Call wanted to know, let's say the Destiny crew got rescued in 2025. Do you think Telford would want to stay on Earth to help those of the crew who chose to stay behind? Or do you think that he would want to be out there on the mission assisting Colonel Young in some way, shape, or form? What do you think he would be wanting to do at this point in his life? Because he's been a colonel, he's probably a general by now. Where do you think he would want to be at this point if it were done now?
I think, and I think this was the plan, quite honestly. And we can look at what's happening today. We can look at what's happening, in leadership today, in whatever administration. FaceTime is incredibly important, and so to get anything done, to cut through the bureaucracy, I don't think that Telford could 100% be on the Destiny. I think he would have to go back and forth. I think he would have to be in those meetings, looking after that agenda. Otherwise, it would fall through the cracks. Stuff would be happening in boardrooms that he was not in. And so I think that it would be incumbent upon Telford, and he would be savvy enough, a politician at this point, to know that yes, he would try to be helping missions, aboard the Destiny, but he would have to go back to Command Central to make sure that that particular agenda was getting its due.
It makes a lot of sense. O'Neill would be retired now. I suspect he would have taken his place at the Pentagon for Homeworld Command. That makes a lot. And Harvey and Todd the Wraith they were asking in terms of you becoming a main character. Eventually, with the show, that totally stands to reason, and I'm thrilled to hear, that was their intent.
Camille Ray, as you remember, is an IOA representative, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she would definitely decide to stay on Earth. As I see it, Lieutenant Vanessa James and Lieutenant Matthew Scott would also stay on Earth. Scott's son, Matthew Belloc, is also a huge factor in his decision, as well as his relationship with Chloe, but more on that later. Dr. Adam Brody, mechanical engineer. Tough one, but I think he would decide to return to the Destiny at the last minute. His decisions would be influenced by whatever decision his friends, Drs. Dale Walker and Lisa Park, make. Also playing factor is him feeling some remorse for his counterpart's actions in creating Futura, and whether or not there's still a conflict to resolve with the Tenerans. Dr. Dale Walker, astrophysicist. Fun story, he was on his way to inform Telford that he won't be returning to the ship, but then he met a woman who was joining the new Destiny expedition. It was love at first sight. Master Sergeant Ronald Greer. If asked by military personnel, he would return to the Destiny immediately. He's a soldier, and the crew much relies on him. Dr. Lisa Park. Initially, she was going to stay, but since both Ronald Greer and Dr. Walker are joining the expedition, she's decided to do so as well. Now we have arrived at complex theories. Warrow never left the ship, but is actively using the comstones to talk to TJ. Their storyline is basically to find ways to convince Colonel Everett Young to return as the leader of the expedition. Curing ALS is no longer an issue for modern Earth. Core of the issue is that Young wishes to live happily ever after with Lieutenant Tamara Johansson on Earth. TJ, however, wishes to rejoin the Destiny expedition in order to find Carmen. I think she's with the planet builders, but it's not my story to tell. Last but not least, the question of Eli Wallace and Chloe Armstrong. Well, as I've previously mentioned, Rush saw Eli hugging Chloe in her stasis pod. As I see it, there are two ways to go from there. First, here's the lighter approach. Spending so much time alone on a Destiny, figuring out a way to survive, took its toll on Eli. He no longer has relatives on Earth, and he didn't have any friends in the first place. He wants to do something meaningful with his life, with people he's grown to care for. Eli says goodbyes, but hearing his reasoning, Chloe changes her mind. Which is of course a very Chloe thing to do. She dumps Matthew Scott and joins the rest of the team. But here's the darker approach. We're back to Eli hugging Chloe in her stasis pod. He seems fine, besides losing all the weight. When they are awakened from stasis, Chloe, on the other hand, collapses brain dead due to a pod malfunction. The necessary modifications were done by Eli, so the pod could theoretically hold two people in stasis. It is unclear to them why Chloe suffered such an injury. As I see it, it's most likely because of the whole Nakai thing. Anyways, this leaves Eli with the shocking burden of not knowing, not to mention the conflict with Matthew Scott. Naturally, Rush suggests having brain-dead Chloe sit in the chair, which results in Gin taking over her body for good. She's played by Elise, but whenever the crew accept her not being Chloe but Gin, Julie McNiven can take over for good. As part of recovering from the guilt-induced depression, Eli and Gin visit Earth, but like so many, they decide to join the Destiny expedition and continue her mission. So as you can see, my theory intends to reset these people onto the ship with renewed commitment, more resources, and a refreshed perspective. It's not to conclude their story, but to have it continued without disturbing anything that's already been established by the creators. Of course, maybe the pods are interconnected and are equipped with a neural interface, so this whole story of mine is happening in a shared dream of the crew, destined to be rescued at some point in the future.
That just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?
Would you consider my theory an okay start for a third season of Stargate Universe? Do you agree with my assumption about certain crew members' decisions? Would you like some sort of restart of the show? Let me know if you think I've missed something or you have a better idea. As always, I'll get back to you in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. You take care.